Many thanks for joining us. We begin the news this afternoon with a report that the President of the Republic, Niger and Guinea-Bissau arrived at the Air Villa today to visit their Nigerian counterpart, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. President Patrice Talon of Benin Republic, Mohamed Bazoum of Niger Republic, and Omaro Embalo of Guinea-Bissau were received by Tinubu at the forecourt of the presidential villa, Abuja. Soon afterwards, he led the West African leaders into a private session at his office. While the specific agenda of today's meeting is not yet public, it comes barely 9 days after President Tinubu assumed the chairmanship of the Authority of Heads of State of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The leaders are expected to discuss security and economic development in the sub-region. Tinubu is likely to reiterate his stance on defending democracy in the sub-region given the spate of coups in recent years. Guinea-Bissau had survived an attempted coup in February 2022. However, the civilian governments of Guinea, Mali, and Burkina Faso had been toppled between 2019 and 2022. Meanwhile, the Vice President Kashim Shettima is currently meeting a delegation of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group (NESG) at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Reports say the courtesy visit is aimed to, among other things, notify the VP of the 29th Nigerian Economic Summit, which holds on October 23rd through 24th this year, and to invite him to give the closing address of the summit. Recall that the NESG was incorporated in 1996 by a group of private sector leaders after co-hosting 3 successive Nigerian economic summits with the federal government. Meanwhile, discussions will also feature possible areas of collaboration between the NESG, the Office of the Vice President, and National Economic Council on strategic presidential priorities and initiatives. Away from that, the pump price of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, raised from 537 naira per litre to 617 naira per litre at some filling stations operated by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) in Abuja. The independent oil marketers confirmed the increase in the cost of the commodity, as they stated that any shift in price by NNPCL station was an indication of a rise in the pump price of PMS. Speaking of newsmen, the Secretary, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Mohammed Shaibu, said the NNPCL is still the major importers of petrol into Nigeria currently, though other marketers are gradually importing the commodity. The price this morning at some NNPCL station is 617 naira per litre. Recall that President Bola Tinubu had, during his inaugural address on May 29, announced that subsidy on petrol had ended, a development that led to the jump in the price of the commodity from 198 naira per litre to over 500 naira per litre on May 30th. In a separate development, the federal government has said that plans are on the way to undertake a nationwide vaccination of cattle, sheep, and goats following a confirmed case of anthrax in Niger State. The Niger case comes weeks after the federal government alerted Nigerians to the outbreak of the deadly disease in some neighboring countries within the West African sub-region. The federal government therefore urged Nigerians to desist from the consumption of cow hides, otherwise known as bobo, smoked meat, and bushmeat. Recall that the government in June specifically stated that the disease was widespread in northern Ghana, bordering Burkina Faso and Togo. From the Green Chambers, now where the House of Representatives is to investigate the non-remittance of due taxes by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) into the Federation account and the accusation by the Federation Account Allocation Committee. Adopting a motion by Uduak A. Udodo, the House asked its Committee on Finance to carry out a comprehensive investigation into the allegations, as the Revenue Allocation Committee had alleged that such refusal led to loss of over 2 trillion naira in revenue. Udodo said Section 162, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, provided for the Federation account in which all revenues collected by the government of the Federation, except such exempted therein, are paid. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives today constituted an 8-man ad hoc committee to look into the request by President Bola Tinubu to borrow about $800 million to finance social safety net by the government. The committee, headed by the House Leader Julius Ihobare, is made up of principal officers of the House. Recall that the President had in a letter read on the floor of the House by the Speaker requested approval of additional financing of the National Social Safety Net program. In another development, the Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke will tomorrow swear in his newly appointed commissioners. Reports say the Chief of Staff to Olagunsoye Oyinlola, former governor of Osun State Festus Adeyemo, and 2 commissioners that served in the state cabinet during the tenure of ex-governor Ralph Aregbesola, alongside 22 others, were unveiled as commissioner nominees by the State House of Assembly. The Speaker, Adewale Egbedun, read the names as contained in the letter sent to the lawmakers by Adeleke at the plenary on July 7. The 2 members of Aregbesola's cabinet that made the list are Kolakbo Alimi, who served as Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, and B. Odunlade, who was Special Advisor and later Commissioner for Sports. Adeyemo, who is from Eriwol local government area, served as Chief of Staff to Oyinlola at the twilight of his administration, when the man that occupied the post in 2003, Peter Babalola, left the cabinet in pursuit of governorship ambition. Also listed is the widow of late Senator Ishaka Adeleke, the elder brother of the incumbent governor Folashade Adeleke. To education now, where the Oyo State government has said that the over 1.5 million out-of-school children that have been absorbed into various public schools under the 2017 to 2022 Beta Education Service Delivery for All will be mopped up and brought back to the classrooms under the BESDA Additional Funding Transforming Education System at state level program. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Adeniyi Olusanjo, made this known during a 2-day training program on community-driven development approach in Ibadan, the state capital. In a statement by the Director of Press and Public Relations, Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism, Rotimi Babalola, the program is targeting at mopping up the remaining 1.5 million out-of-school children after those that have been successfully returned to classrooms under the BESTA within 2017 and 2022. Mbake doctors and nurses in Uyo have warned that people with HIV are prone to having tuberculosis. Speaking with a correspondent, a nurse at Handmaid Hospital, Mbotidem Umoran, said HIV and tuberculosis are linked and warned that such persons should desist from self-medications. Meanwhile, Dr. Nkerewemetok of Live Links Hospital said if tuberculosis is not treated, it could lead to more health complications like lung damage, liver, kidney problems, and warned that people should follow the doctor's directions for treatment. Our correspondent, Blessing Dixon, brings the complete story.
In 2021, 1.9 million Nigerians were living with HIV. Women were the most affected group, counting 1.1 thousand individuals. Also, children up to the age of 14 who were HIV positive equaled 170,000. Tuberculosis is the second leading infectious killer disease globally. People living with HIV are more likely than others to become sick with tuberculosis. This is because HIV weak and Nurse Mbotidem Morgan, who explained the link between HIV and tuberculosis while stating the negative effect of self-medication.
When you have those symptoms, the only way you can confirm that this patient is a tuberculosis patient is to go for tests.
We know that HIV and tuberculosis they are husband and wife. So that is why we put our eye to, especially for people with HIV because of their immune system. And you know that tuberculosis is an airborne disease. So people at least once in a year, because most so before you some signs and symptoms of TB that some people may also neglect are coughing, persistent fever or intermittent fever that we may have this week, next week will goes come back. Then drenching night sweat. This one, if that is known, coughing. Now another one is losing of weight. This person that was fat before is losing weight every day. He's going to the hospital doing HIV test negative. Have you gone for TB screening?
So it is not that. It is just a disease like any other disease, except that it does not respond to the common medication that one will go to the pharmacy or to the chemist and just buy things and go and take, and it does not go. It means this thing is not a medicine thing I have tried. You are good to go.
HIV is not a death sentence. It can be treated as a chronic illness or a chronic disease. In Uyo, Blessing Dixit, Spectrum Television News.
Moving on to Africa, where Kenyan authorities have seized a smuggled shipment of medication which can be used by athletes as performance-enhancing drugs. The anti-doping agency of Kenya disclosed that a woman was arrested on suspicion of smuggling and will appear in court. According to the agency, she was arrested at Jomo Kenyatta Airport in Nairobi in a joint operation by police and anti-doping officials. Reports say Kenya is among the most successful countries in international athletics, with a rich history of winners in middle and long distance races at the Olympics and World Championships. Still in Africa, Egypt's Public Prosecution Office has said that 8 people, including 7 members of one family, have been reportedly killed in Cairo when a residential building in the capital collapsed. According to the prosecution office, civil defense workers pulled out 9 people. Among them was an injured woman, while the 8 others were deceased, noting that another 5 were able to leave the property before it fell down. Reports say the prosecution office therefore ordered the arrest of the building's owner, the contractor in charge of the works, and one of his employees for questioning. On a foreign scene, a U.S. national has been reportedly detained in North Korea after crossing the border. Speaking on newsmen, the United Nations Command, which operates the Demilitarized Zone and Joint Security Area (JSA), said the U.S. national did not have authorization, and the command is working with the country KPA counterparts to resolve the incident. Reports say dozens of people escape North Korea every year to flee from poverty and famine. Still on the foreign scene, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that his country is prepared to continue grain exports after Russia announced it was exiting a landmark deal brokered with Turkey and the United Nations (UN) to unblock deliveries from the major producer. Zelensky said Ukraine, the UN, and Turkey can jointly ensure the operation of the food corridor and the inspection of ships. According to him, China, Spain, and Turkey are the 3 main beneficiaries of the grain shipments, noting that 60% of the volumes were exported to Africa and Asia. Reports say the agreement, which has enabled the export in cargo of more than 32 million tons of Ukrainian grain over the last year, has expired. And still to come in the news, Bayern Munich increased asking price for Sadio Mane. To stay with us. And thanks for staying with us. We move on to the rest of the news stories. On a business news, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council (NEPC) has said that non-oil exports in the first half of 2023 declined marginally to $2.539 billion from $2.593 billion in the same period last year. Executive Director of NEPC, Yakusak Exra, disclosed this in Abuja at the presentation of the first half-year progress report on the non-oil export performance for 2023. He blamed the decline on the conduct of the general elections and the changes in global economic conditions. The NPC boss explained that the sector recorded a dip in export value in the first half year of 2023 due to the general elections and changes in global economic conditions. Still in business, a group of point-of-sales operators in Nigeria have protested against the increased service charges in the country, which took effect yesterday. Recall that the Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria announced new service charges for operators in June. The association had said the increase in service charges was to ensure point-of-sale operators survive. With the implementation of the framework, Nigerians who wanted to deposit between 1,000 and 4,000 naira will now have to pay a service charge of 100 naira, while 5,000 naira to 10,900 naira will attract a service charge of 200 naira, amongst others. However, the operators under the umbrella of Concerned POS Operators in Nigeria described the increase as outrageous and anti-people. We move to health, where former president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Olumide Akintayo, has asked President Bola Tinubu to implement various reforms recommended in the pharmaceutical sector to boost local drug manufacturing in the country. He said the pharmaceutical sector is very crucial to the country, noting that it is only drugs manufacturers that can add serious value in terms of gross domestic product that can boost the Nigerian economy. Akintayo also urged Tinubu to urgently look at the various concerns in the pharmaceutical sector and address them if the country is to witness robust local drug manufacturing like India and China, stressing the country cannot have drug security when local drug manufacturers import active pharmaceutical ingredients and 70% of the country's drug needs. Still in health, experts have advised Nigerians to prioritize oral care, stressing that most illnesses emanate from improper care of the mouth. While advocating for proper care of the teeth from infancy, the experts said there is a need to take preventive measures against oral cancer, noting that regular visits to the hospital for appropriate checkups should also be prioritized. The medical practitioners made the call at the 20th anniversary and public lecture of SS Dental Clinic Limited held in Lagos. The Chief Operating Officer of the clinic, Yetunde Oladejo, emphasized the importance of oral health checkup and the need to pay great attention to it, especially from infancy, disclosing that it is the key indicator of overall health. She implored Nigerians to pay regular visits to dentists, adding that teachers and parents alike should begin to check the teeth of children regularly every morning and evening. To sports now, where German Bundesliga side Bayern Munich have increased their asking price for Senegalese forward Sadio Mane due to Saudi interest in the forward. Reports say the 31-year-old Africa Cup of Nations winner could be on the move from the German side, and the Bundesliga's champions were prepared to let the Senegal international depart for £17 million. According to reports, representatives from Al Nassr and Al Ahly had met with Mane's team. Still in sports, Marcus Rashford has agreed to a new long-term contract with Manchester United. According to reports, England forward has a verbal agreement with the club for a new 5-year contract that would keep him at Old Trafford until 2028. Reports say talks with Rashford are in the final stages before an official announcement is made. On our entertainment news, American singer Taylor Swift now has more #1 albums than any other female artist in history, following the recent Queen's 12th #1 album and surpassing Barbara Streisand for the most among women. Reports say that for male performers, Jay-Z and the Beatles both have over a dozen #1 albums, though Billboard notes it has changed its album ranking system over the decades to include anthologies. The organization added that Swift has also become the first living artist in nearly 60 years to have 4 albums in the top 10 at the same time. Still on entertainment, American singer Ariana Grande and her husband Dalton Gomez have reportedly called it quits and are headed towards a divorce. Reports say that the couple have reportedly been separated since July 2023 and are now moving towards having an official divorce. This comes as a shock to many because Ariana celebrated their second anniversary on her Instagram page just in May 2023. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, Spectrum.ng. You've been watching Spectrum TV News at 4. I am Francis Oyima, Edit. Many thanks for being there and do enjoy the rest of your day.